Hello and welcome once again to Tastiest vlog. If you're new here, kindly subscribe to my channel and don't forget to hit the notification bell when you're done. Today we are preparing cabbage stew the Ghanaian way. There are so many ways of preparing your cabbage stew and trust me, you will love this my recipe today. We all know cabbage is full of nutrients and insoluble fiber. Come with me as I take you through the process today. First of all, we have our tuna flakes, our cabbage, we have our curry powder, our vegetable oil, tomato paste, powdered pepper, powdered ginger, our homemade spices, our deboned chicken, salt to taste, we have our fresh tomatoes and onions, and then our mackerel. So in a bowl, I'm going to pour the deboned chicken into it. I'm going to season it with salt, our seasoning powder, our pepper, and then ginger. Also, I'm going to add my onion powder. You can add garlic powder if you have, or you can use the fresh ones. Mix it and set it aside. Whilst you also start chopping your cabbage into the sizes you prefer. This has already been washed first, so I'm going to cut it and then I will sterilize it a little bit. It is always good to rewash your cabbage after you're done cutting, because at times when you cut them you find these black things inside it, and you know germs from the peel of the skin can also enter into it after you are done washing it for the first time. So for the stem or the stalk of it, you cut it into smaller pieces. This is optional, you can throw it away, but then I prefer to add it to my cabbage stew because it has that mushroom taste and I love it so much. So I'm going to pour the cut cabbage into my bowl and then pour enough water into it. After, I'm going to start sterilizing or sanitizing my vegetable. So you can use vinegar if you have, or you can use salt, which I think is common in every home to do this. So you add enough to it, leave it in for about a minute, and then you mix it all together. This way all the germs in it would die off, and then you transfer it into your saucepan before you cook it. Add a little bit of water to your cabbage because cabbage is about 90% made of water, and then we cook this for about 7 minutes. On the other hand, we are going to start frying our chicken. My chicken is the soft type, so I don't need to cook it before frying it. But if you are using the hard type of chicken, please cook it for about 10 to 15 minutes before you fry them. We are going to fry this till it's well cooked or till it's golden brown, and this will take roughly 12 minutes to achieve that. Whilst waiting on it, we are going to start cutting our vegetables. Now I'm going to cut my onions into the sizes I prefer. You can either do it on the chopping board or you can use your hand with a knife like I'm doing here, and then you do same till all your vegetables are also done, and then we move on to the next stage. You can also de-seed your tomatoes, but then I prefer to add mine to it because I love to eat the wholesome of my fruits and vegetables. Abumuwe na nkasa no sheda kasa wo yeni ya na nyede enti no buga se ya dede do be wi kama ubon say dem kind memboa kra. So we are going to check on our cabbage, and then you see that it's not that soft and neither is it too hard, so it's done, and then I'm going to take it off. This part is also optional. Like I told you earlier, there are so many ways of preparing this particular stew. So you take it out of the fire and then you strain it with your strainer, and then you set it aside. Now our chicken is also ready, so we are going to take it out and then we start preparing our stew. In the same oil, I'm going to add my sliced onions into it. This I'm going to fry for about 2 to 3 minutes or till it's golden brown or translucent in color. You can also blend your onions if you like, and then it serves the same purpose. So continue stirring it till it's golden brown. After you add your powdered pepper to it and then your fresh tomatoes. If you are using fresh pepper, please cook it for 2 minutes before adding your fresh tomatoes too. Now we are going to allow this to simmer on medium heat for about 5 minutes before adding our tomato paste to it. So you continue stirring till it's all mixed and you allow it to cook slowly on the fire. After the 5 minutes, I'm going to add about a tablespoonful of my tomato paste, and then I'll add a little bit of water to unthicken it and then continue stirring it till it's well mixed. Now I'm going to leave this for an additional 5 minutes and then I'll come back to it. Now I'm adding my ginger powder to it. I'm also adding my seasoning powder. I'm going to add my curry powder to it. You can add nutmeg if you want, but then I am not using nutmeg today. When it's done, I'm going to add my tin mackerel or tuna flakes to it, and then I'm going to give it a quick stir. For the proteins, you can use any that you have in the comfort of your home. It's not compulsory to add these ones to it. After, I'm going to add my mackerel to it too. If you have smoked mackerel, it's the same thing, or smoked salmon is the same thing. So you continue stirring it whilst it continue to also cook beautifully. When you're done, you add your chicken to it and then you give it a quick stir again and allow it to also simmer on heat for an additional 5 minutes so that it will soak all the juices from the stew too. Abomuwe na nkasa no wo ya se de mesi aka chiro no ye wo kwan wudo bebre obetimi aye obetimi de enwo aye obetimi abokusua kra afra obetimi de akatoa anasa agushi krampo afra nti da foforo de beye no so. When you're done, it's time to add your cooked cabbage to it. You can also add your raw cabbage at this stage and allow it to simmer on medium heat till it's soft enough to be eaten. But then I prefer to cook mine before adding it to my stew so that it saves time for me. Now continue mixing it in smaller quantities till all is inside the stew, and then allow it to simmer for an additional 3 to 5 minutes and our stew is ready. Now after you are done mixing it, you taste for salt and adjust it accordingly too. I always make sure that when I'm cooking my stew, salt is the last I add because of the spices we add in our food. So to my existing and old subscribers and viewers, thank you so much for the continued support. I love you guys so much. And to the new viewers and subscribers too, thank you for the help and then for also stopping by. This is Tastiest vlog. We cook all the delicious meals you can never find with minimal spices in our food. You can serve this with your rice or with your ampesi, and trust me, it goes so well. You can even eat it with your bread, and trust me, it's so delicious. Oh my god. Thank you, lovely people, for watching my video. Don't forget to like, comment on my video, share to your family and friends to become a part of this great family, whilst not forgetting to give me a thumb up for more recipes. Bye bye.